This is the 18th season of Bass Talk Live. With your host, Matt Pangrath. BTL is brought to you by Lowrance, Bass Cat Boats, AFCO, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, and Pro Guide Batteries.
PTL, coming at you!
Good morning and welcome back to another edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we are going to talk about bass fishing. I gotta be honest with you guys. I knew going into the month of April that it was going to be a test of both mental and physical stamina for myself. Fishing 3 opens and then heading up to Minnesota with weeks of BTL and then recording 2 weeks of BTL in between with a trip out to the East Coast, 2 trips out to the East Coast, really. And I'm right in the middle of it. Right in the middle of it. Started out in Tennessee for the first Open, came back, did a couple weeks of shows, and then went out to Virginia last week for the first Northern Bassmaster Open of the season. Finished 78th out of 230 there. A very mediocre finish. I fished well. I fished incredibly well for what I wanted to do. Executed my game plan, and I did not get a big bite. Well, part of my game plan was getting a big bite, so I guess I did not execute my game plan. But I didn't lose any. I was happy with the way I fished, and somehow I moved up to 13th in the overall standings. I'm out of it in the Southerns and the Northerns, but kind of got into it with Jeffries beforehand. He's like, man, you're 0 for 3 in checks. He was working on some bowling ball stuff before I headed to school, and I said, yeah, but I'm still in the hunt for the overall. So we will dive into the Bassmaster Open on the James River tomorrow. Brad Hallman will join me, and we will go over some clips, some game footage from that. Talk about where we went, when we went. Real interesting tournament because Brad and I ended up doing completely different things. I did get the audio figured out from the last time we did a breakdown of Cherokee. That was on my end, not on Brad's end, so we will have crisp, clear audio for that tomorrow for the Open breakdown. And then on Wednesday, one of my really good friends that I was really pumped to see, kind of get like a week behind, but last week, while I was at the James River practicing, Rick Harris won the Toyota Series, the MLF Toyota Series on Lake Texoma. He had a big bag in the low 20s. It was a weird tournament that the wind was crazy the first 2 days. And then Rick goes out and he wins. It's the first time he's come close to winning a Toyota Series like that, so he gets the win. The crazy part of that story is just a couple weeks before, he also guides for, I think, like the Hill Country Hammers down there in Texas, and they do like OHIV and a couple other lakes down there, and they do a lot of guiding anyway. He's like guiding full time for them. And a couple weeks right before his first win, he put a client on a 14+ pounder, and he's catching like double digits pretty much every day guiding. So I'm gonna have Rick on Wednesday, and then Frank is back Thursday. But today, man, I gotta get Jason Christie back on. The guy wins another Elite Series stop last week on Lake Chickamauga. Does it in a really weird fashion. A tournament that should have been a slugfest kind of turned into a grind. No one had any big bags on the final day, and then Christy gets his second win in 3 tournaments. He basically went first, last, first. So Jason Christie on the show today, and then we will also check in with the Bass Tank's John Sokup, who is at Lake Hartwell right now preparing for the second stop of the National Professional Fishing League event on Lake Hartwell. So John is also 3 weeks in a row. The guy has now fished 4 Bassmaster Opens and has 3 top 10s. Pretty humbling when you see what a guy can do like that. And also, he did it without live scope this week. So for all you who thought that John Sokup could just all he was a live scoper. Not true. He finished in third on the James River, is in second in the overall point standings, and then is headed to Hartwell and then headed to Ross Barnett next week for the first Central Open. So today, Jason Christie and John Soka. I didn't even mean to, but it was a pretty Oklahoma-themed week this week with that, and then Brad tomorrow. Something that did occur more recently was Ott Defoe taking home the heavy hitters title on Lake Palestine. It is his fourth BPT win, and crazy, 3 of those are in Texas. You know, for a East Tennessee guy, I guess it kind of translates. Having been out there to Tennessee a couple times now, there is a lot of kind of some similarities between that and the Texas lakes that he's fished on. But his third win in Texas, also a big winner of the week of heavy hitters on the BPT was Alton Jones Jr., who got his first win earlier this year and then backed it up by catching the biggest bass in both the knockout and the championship rounds of heavy hitters. So he won $150,000, up over $250,000, like a quarter of the way through the season, almost halfway through the season now for those guys. So big shout out to Alton Jones Jr. Have not ever had him on the show, I don't think. And I think that I'm definitely going to try to get Alton Jones Jr. on the show to talk about making $250,000 in like 5 events, catching the biggest bass, 100,000. I think he also does like live streaming games with like Ronnie Moore and Adam Bartuzek and stuff like that. Like I think they stream like, I don't know what they stream, World of Warcraft or Sonic the Hedgehog or something. I've never gotten into that like on the Twitch streaming deal. I've never played a video game before outside of Sonic when I was like 12. I do want to give a big shout out before we really get into today's show. I talk a lot about the BTL family, you guys who are loyal listeners, the messages that I get overwhelmed with before and after every open, guys and gals who just take an interest in me. It means a lot more so than I think you guys realize, because I mean it's fishing. It's a first world problem. It's chasing a dream that I'm trying to do full time. And there's a lot of you guys who really go out of your way to send great emails and messages. I'm still behind on it. I'm still getting caught up on that, so stay patient. I will get to all of them. But I wanted to give a big shout out to Clyde Baldwin and his wife for letting me stay at their home this past week in Virginia through the Open. Like I gotta admit, that's kind of a sketchy vibe to get that when you've never met anyone, and they're like, hey man, I've got extra room, house, you can park your boat here. But man, it was I think it really helped me have a solid finish. He had a house right there in the Chickahominy, very accommodating and very easy. Great guy. So I really appreciated the effort that they said. Then I said, hey, I want to take you guys out to dinner one night and just to kind of say thank you. And they said, okay. We ended up at this they picked this kind of winery deal, and it turned out to be really cool because Dave Rush just texted me here. There it is. It's a stat about Jason Christie from the Best on Tour. Wow. He's won $412,500 in 5 events. $82,000 a tournament. That's pretty good stuff. We'll talk about that with Jason. But anyway, went to the winery and they had converted an old house into this restaurant, and it was really cool, and they had a bunch of stuff from Virginia type foods out there. So big shout out to Clyde. Also, I was going to launch my boat on day 2, and John came up to me, and he's a listener of the show. Stautner, I want to say is how you say his last name, John Stautner. Anyway, he said, hey man, he goes, find me after today. I've made some cull tags for you, the non-penetrating cull tags. And I said, is there any way you could get them before today? I literally had 2 cull tags break on day 1 because I was culling so many 13.5 inchers that meant absolutely nothing. And he said, seriously? I said, yeah. He said, yeah, let me find... he said, let me go to my truck and find it. And he dug it through, and he came back with some cull tags and gave them to me, non-penetrating. And I used them on day 2, and I was really happy with them. So I want to give a shout-out to John. They're called MGM cull tags. Not sponsored, not affiliated with the show at all, but the guy went out of his way, made me a set of cull tags, found me before launch at the Open, and gave me this set. So if you want to check out the MGM cull tags, and you just Google that up and check it out. And if you use BTL10, you get, I would assume, 10% off of those cull tags. One more thing before we get to Jason. I know Jason is going to the lake. If there's one thing that I don't want to do, it's keep that man from getting on the lake. I'm right now, Jason Christie waiting on an interview before he gets on the lake. I might be the only person that can keep Jason Christie from catching big bass right now. This might be the only way that it will ever happen, is him sitting in the truck waiting on the interview. But before we get there, I do want to mention one more thing, and that is the St. Jude's benefit tournament, the Dick Hiley St. Jude's Classic. If you've listened to BTL over the last couple weeks, you know we did. Me and Adam Bartuzek from the Crappie Chronicles did a fundraiser. We're fishing that event the beginning of May with 100% of the proceeds going to St. Jude's. The BTL t-shirts, folks, it's like I said, it's amazing. It makes me smile every time we looked at it. You guys donated $2,509 just in BTL and St. Jude t-shirts, and then that was also matched with a total of $4,000 just in cash donations. So just for the team of BTL and Crappie Chronicles, and through the BTL listeners, $6,509 raised for St. Jude's Children Research. The bare minimum we wanted to raise was $5,000. We'd love to get to the $10,000 mark. The t-shirts, those sales ended Friday. I will have a link for a direct link up there. Bartuzek is trying to get me to do this thing where if we get to $10,000 in direct donations, I will throw a Carolina rig with a chesty on for an hour during the tournament and then just run the raw footage. I still don't know if that's worth it, but the direct link will be there after the show. All right, we're going to take a break. I got to see if I can remember how to do all this stuff here. Hit the right buttons. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, the man with 2 trophies on his mantle in 2022, and that would be Jason Christie. It's BTL on a Monday. We'll be back after this.
Bigger and better. The Lowrance Ultimate Fishing System upgrade now offers more. A new $200 rebate on active target live sonar and bigger savings with up to $1,200 cash back. Pick fish finding tools to fit the way you fish. From high-performance sonar and ultra-quiet ghost trolling motor to navigation and networking tools that bring it all together. Find more, see more, catch more.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
I've made my living on the water for over 20 years.
For 14 years.
For over 23 years.
I've worn a bunch of different clothing brands over the years.
Some companies big.
And some companies small.
All of them said they were making clothing for us. But none of them knew us.
None of them were us.
Except for one.
Except for one.
Except one.
AFCO.
AFCO.
AFCO. AFCO.
Fishing isn't part of us. It is us.
The KVD 100 jerkbait. 15 different colors. A perfect combination of roll, wiggle, and flash. Increased castability. 3D eyes. Premium black nickel hooks. KVD. Tie one on. Striking lures.
Welcome back. BTL on a Monday. Did the 20-hour drive straight through from Virginia. Actually had a little accident. Could have been a lot worse than it was. I went in my truck to get a water at like 10 p.m. and I missed the step of the cat coming out of the boat, and I completely yard sailed it in a truck stop at 10 p.m. Water went flying, caught myself with my phone, shattered my phone screen. I see Jason's trying to get on. There he is right there. Let's add the man. Can you go horizontal with your phone, Jason? And I think his mic's muted too. We had this issue last time. Can you hear me?
Got
He's got me. All right. Let's edit the mic settings here. So we did the phone test, and then Jason was like, man, I can do video. And if the man can do video, then we'll do video. What's going on, Jason?
Oh, not a lot. About to put the boat in and go fishing. The water's 7 foot in the bushes, and I laid I got a flipping stick and a crappie pole on the deck.
How long is the crappie rod?
It's short. I'm not a dauber. I'm a caster.
Have you done that stuff yet? Like with soak up, where you see them and drop right? I know you, like we talked about this before, but I would feel like the aggressive way that soak up and the bass tank guys catch them would be more your style. But you like to float like a 32nd ounce jig down to them, don't you?
Yeah, it's pretty addictive. You know, these big schools pull up right now and stage, and I mean, you can just pull up, put anchor lock on, point the deuce or the live scope at them, and just catch all you want to catch. So, you know, I don't have a plan today. All I know is I have not made a cast since Chickamauga. Just gonna go fishing. I don't have a lot of time today. I got some things I have to take care of this evening, but yeah, just gonna go fishing. We kind of ran out of the house today. I got kicked out of the house, so I had to do something to go fishing.
What has your schedule been like since the Classic? Like, I mean, you're kind of a private guy. You like to do your own thing, spend time in the woods, hang out with friends, fish by yourself. I mean, I wouldn't consider you like a social butterfly. It's a fair assessment, right? But I mean, it seems like it's just been nuts. You've been posting. You're always somewhere doing something.
Dude, it's been crazy. You know, even though I won the Classic and then, you know, was lucky enough to win at Chickamauga, life still goes on. I mean, we're trying to build a house. We're trying to get a house started. You know, and getting home from the Classic, we literally had 5 days at the house. And, you know, we had one thing that I had to do, you know, was bury the family dog. And yeah, that took a lot out of me. And you know, just catch up on stuff, do interviews. And then, you know, during Chickamauga, things were starting to slow down a little bit. And then after Chickamauga, it's just right back to it. You know, I kind of last week just, you know, I didn't do anything outside. I worked on taxes, caught up with what I needed to do. We had a party at the house. A lot of my friends got together and kind of catch up from the Classic. So this is my first time. I'm not a homebody at all. I got to be outside doing something, whether I'm fishing or putting feed out for the deer or something. And I've been cooped up for a week, so I had to get out. I can see the sunshine coming. So hopefully by the time this call's over, the sun shines out and we're just going to go get some fish.
Well, you just give me the look whenever you're ready to be done, and we'll just move on to soak up. He's on next. Just give me that look, and I'll wrap that sucker up within 10 seconds, Jason.
No, you're good. It looks like you got a while. It's coming, but it's going to be a little bit.
All right. Dave Rush just texted me this. I don't know if you're aware of your stats in 5 tournaments this year. Pretty impressive. 5 events, $412,500. Granted, the $300,000 for the Classic really bumps up that yearly earnings, but $412,500, which equates to $82,500 per tournament, $29,464 per competition day, $3,683 per hour, and $6,762 per bass that has crossed the stage. You better have a badass hot tub in this new house that you're building, Jason.
You know, what I hear of all of that is, you know, I met with my accountant yesterday and we kind of discussed it. That's all I see. But you know what? Like, it's just part of it. I mean, you know, to worry about taxes is a good thing. You know, I've had years where a long time ago where I didn't have to worry about it. So, you know, I'm not complaining. I don't want anybody to think I'm complaining because I'm not. Yeah, it's been great so far. And you know, what's funny is the season's not even halfway over.
That's not funny. That's terrifying.
Yeah, so I mean, we're going to a place, in a few weeks in Texas at Fork that I'm excited to go, and we're going to go at a time that's been different than I think they've been lately, and also the lake's totally different with the lake being super low. So I'm always excited to fish new places, and even though Fork is not a new place, it's going to fish a lot differently than it would the last few years. So yeah, I'm excited to go.
Didn't you have like a crazy frog bite last time you guys were at Fork? Like something like it hit weird, or you thought it was a carp or something, and it was like a 10-pounder?
That was that was actually 3 or 4 years ago in a different event. Yeah, I actually caught a 10-4 that morning flipping, and then I was gonna lay off and go throw a frog, and I catch a 9-4 on a frog that I thought was a gar.
I remember that. That was like one of the coolest fish catches ever, because like it absolutely was like a hand grenade after you set the hook, and it like just slurped it.
Yeah, I've my two. Like, here's what's weird. There's some lakes that you just kind of click with. I get asked all the time, what's your biggest fish? And, I've caught several, 8 or 10 fish around 10, 10-1, 10-2, 10-3, 10-4, nothing really bigger than that. And I want to say 75 to 80% of those have come off Fork either in practice or in the tournament. We fished an event there once a long time ago where I weighed 2 10-pounders the same day fishing deep. I don't know. I just like going there. I mean, I love the fact that whenever you get that bite, there's that millisecond in your head. Is it 12 inches long or is it 10 pounds? Yeah, I love fishing places like that.
All right. Since we've had you on, you have now been on 3 times in 2022. So I know I think you're frozen right now. But Jason's all about setting records, so he is the most frequent guest on BTL in 2022. You back? He's gonna have to probably log back out. I bet he had a call, and he did that last time. He doesn't have his phone set up on Do Not Disturb, so then when he gets a call, and after you win the Classic in an Elite Series event, you tend to get a lot of calls. So he's gonna hop right back on. But he is the most frequented guest on Bass Zone in 2022. He was on the first week, and then he was on after he won the Classic, and now he was on this week. So of all the records that you've set in 2022, I'm sure that's the one you're most proud of, being the most frequent guest on BTL in 2022.
So I got bad news. It seems like every time that somebody calls me, I get knocked off. So all I heard was the last part of that.
It had happened last time. I'm just saying you're the most frequent guest on BTL this year so far. I'm sure that's the record you're most proud of.
Well, it is. That makes me feel really, really special, I should say.
Yeah, when Jeffries was here, he had one year where I think he had Gray Buck on like 9 times, and then he had like Miles Bergov on like 7 times. So anyway, what I want to do real quick, Jason, is I want to go through this article. You won the Classic, you won this. There's a really good blog that you penned on Bassmaster.com, and when I printed it off, I didn't have the title of it. You remember the title of it? Let me roll.
Which win?
Yeah, what a weird win. And you posted it, and I read through it, and I was like, dude, there's like 20 different like fishing lessons in this one blog. Like sometimes the blogs are like, crap, I got to do a blog for Bassmaster. You can tell it's like ghost written, and it's just either that or to sell a product. But there's like a bunch of good stuff in this blog. And if you have a second, if you're cool with it, I want to run through, and I want you to kind of break down some stuff that I highlighted in this. Is that weird that I like highlighted stuff printed it out and highlight? No, I've got a show about fishing. I can do it. And you're like the hottest angler in the world right now. All right. First thing is, in the first sentence, you said you caught a 6-pounder with minutes left on the 3rd day, and you didn't lose a fish all week. You said then on the last day with the fog bank, it didn't really force me to pull over, but the older I get, the more scared I am of lightning. I don't do dumb stuff like I did when I was younger. Well, naturally, I have an inquisitive mind, Jason, and that led me to believe you must have done some dumb stuff when you were younger. So in the spirit of BTL, I would like to ask, are there any stories of dumb stuff that you did when you were younger that you'd like to share with us?
Well, we just, I wasn't, before you have kids and before, all of that stuff happens, you just, you just think of yourself. And I can remember out there fishing in storms and lightning and stuff. And I'm talking about not Elite Series events. I'm talking for, you know, jackpots and these small team derbies and stuff. And all of the time I can remember fishing in those storms, I can remember catching one bass that made a difference. And that was a lot of time. And, you know, I was with a friend on Grand once, and we were fishing, and the storm had passed. And we kind of started fishing again. And I remember just this bright, just go wham. And he was standing right next to me fishing, and he got knocked back to the back deck of the boat. I was still standing, of course. I hunkered down. It knocked all of our electronics out, fried everything. And, you know, since that, you just I have a different respect for that stuff. But also, it's, you know, it's not just that. It's you know, like the fog. I mean, the fog may scare me more than anything, just because you can't, you know, you can't see anything around you. And you know, one of the bad things about tournaments is the tournament director is not going to let you go if it's foggy. But what happens a lot is it's not foggy around takeoff. They let us go, and you run into it 20 miles down the lake, and you know, the adrenaline's going where you want to get to your fishing spot and this kind of stuff. But anyway, what happened that morning is I ran into a bank, and it was thick. And, you know, I slowed down. I remember looking, I was running 25 miles an hour, and literally, you know, your head's on a swivel looking for anything, boatways, river channel buoys, anything. And I made it through that bank and got to where I could run again. And then I was just getting to an area that had 4 or 5 options on where I wanted to fish that day. And I had decided to go all the way to the end and fish my way back. And I hit another fog bank, and as soon as I went in, I seen a boat wave. And I knew it wasn't one of our guys. So immediately, like, I made it, you know, there was an option for me to fish. I pulled off. So I think that's one of the good things that happened that day. I mean, as you know, I made a good choice based on the fog, and I was rewarded by some early fish. You know, I was planning on fishing on that stretch, but I just wasn't planning on starting there until I hit the fog.
It worked out.
But you asked me dumb stuff. Son, I'm the king of dumb stuff when I was little. You know, Cat's got 9 lives. I honestly think I've had about 400 because we did dumb stuff. Stupid.
Like on the river, like jumping stuff, running through stuff, or just like in general in life?
You name it. I mean, in general. You know, it honestly didn't seem dumb at the time, but you look back now, and, you know, one of the calls that I just got is from like my childhood best friend that knocked me off. Son, we've done such dumb stuff. I mean, like, we don't even talk about it in front of my kids.
Have you ever gotten stuck out on the river or lake overnight?
No, but, you know, I've been stuck out there where whenever you get stuck and that boat lays on its side, you know, it's like, well, luckily most times I get stuck, it's early in the day for some reason. So I got the rest of the day to
figure out how to get unstuck.
Yeah. We had I was filming on the river one day, and the guy that was following me filming had a jet boat, and I told him where I wanted to go and how I was going to run. And he's like, dude, I'm not running that. And I was like, you know, just watch me and I'll show you how to do it. Yeah, we spent the rest of the day getting off that sandbar. So,
wow.
Didn't get any filming done, but I don't know. That's just maybe that's why I'm a little wiser now. I didn't say I'm a lot wise, but I'm a little bit wiser. It's because of all of the stuff that I've done as a kid.
All right, let's rapid fire some rest of these life lessons that I learned from this one-page blog here. The next one was, you said, you talked about catching a 6-pounder in the waning minutes of day 3 that proved to be the difference maker. I know, having fished a lot of tournaments and been around a lot of guys, it's really hard when you're not really sacking them to stay in it for the entire duration of the day and make that first cast of the morning just as intensely as the last cast of the day. What are some of your tips or strategies do you have for staying engaged the entire day and not checking out towards the end when things aren't really rolling for you?
What's funny is if you look, you fish.
Yep.
I fish. A lot of other guys fish. If you just think about it, go back and think about most of your tournament days. You're all amped up the first couple of hours, and then you're all amped up the last hour because you're either trying to cull, you're trying to catch one, or whatever. And then there's that dead time in the middle. And most days, there's days that you're catching them all day, but most days, you have that peak in the morning, that peak in the afternoon, and I cannot tell people how many times I've caught fish in the last minutes that's changed the outcome of the event. I can remember fishing on Grand Lake one time. My dad and I were fishing a team event. My dad was always the guy that wanted to be back 10 minutes early. He was just that.
Oh, see, when you're the classic champ, you get calls. And he just got another call. You got it? Nope, but now he's muted. So he's got to get off. Now he's muted because when he gets a call, it mutes it. There you go. You're back. All right. Your dad wanted to be back 10 minutes early. Now go horizontal with it again. He's back. And he'll be back. Jason can figure out everything except the do not disturb feature on his phone. I'll be able to edit this out of the podcast. I think sometimes you're doing this intentionally, Jason, so I have to do more post editing on the podcast, and you just like the fact that you're fishing while I'm sitting here just chopping out little 30-second sections. All right, so your dad wanted to be back 10 minutes early for every tournament.
Yeah, hey, if you're watching the show, please. That's how much my phone is ringing.
Oh no, I pointed that out. I said, yeah, you want your phone to never stop ringing, win a classic in a tournament in 3 weeks.
Hey, does it help if it's on Do Not Disturb?
Yeah.
Let me do that. Let's try that.
All right. Now it's got it. Okay. Yeah.
Right,
the do not disturb probably needs to be in my little spiel before everything. I need to put that in there.
Yeah. So
all right, you should be good.
Anyway, my dad and I are fishing. We're fishing a tournament, and it's time to go in, and we're running. He's got his rod strapped down and stuff. And all of a sudden, like, I run behind the island there, and I remember, like, there's a log that I know that hasn't been fished. And I just wheel in there and shut down. And he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was like, we got time for one more cast, and I peel over there and I catch like a 3 1/4, which is not that big of a fish. But the cool thing was it culled like a 3-pounder. And, I literally throw it in the boat, run back. We went a boat by an ounce or two. And that's happened so many times in my career, and it may not be a fish that I win with. It may be a fish that, that I make the top 10, or even the fish that just gets me a check. Mm-hmm. And when you're fishing, or when I'm fishing out there, and I know that I still have times that I get a little, you're out there, you're just going through the motions, but, you watch guys. You can tell if they're into it or if they're not, just by the way they're casting, just by the way they're moving around fishing. And it's so, the last minute is just as important as the first minute. The lunch, it's a tournament day. And whenever you only have to weigh 5 fish, it can happen so fast. So many times in the tournament, I pulled up to a place and caught 2 back-to-back 4-pounders, 5-pounders. And those bites change the day. And, for people listening, you just have to tell yourself, it can happen this cast. It can happen the next cast. And, I think we're in my profession, mentally, the mental part of it is the most valuable part of fishing. I would say, guys say 80%. I would say 90, 95. I look back on 13 when I had those runs of winning a bunch, and I look at now, I just don't have any distractions. Life in general is good. I'm not fishing worried about something else. fishing's good. You cannot go fishing and be out there. I'm not worried about my equipment, because if your reels aren't working, if your boat is not satisfactory, you're not going to fish the way that you need to fish. For me, everything has to be at the highest level, no distractions. And when it gets like that, crazy things can happen.
Are you fishing at the highest level you've ever fished at right now?
I don't want to say ever, but I'm close to where I was. And it comes back to just confidence. I don't care. A lot of times if you pull into an event, no matter if you're fishing a jackpot, a tournament, and you hear guys over there talking, and you're like, and if you're not catching them, or if you don't have confidence, your ears tend to get a little bit bigger. You want to hear what they got to say, just to get a little piece, just to get this, just to get that. Whenever somebody pulls up next to you, you're going to glance over on their deck and see what they got tied on, just to try to get something. Now, I'm at a point right now where, dude, I don't care. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they have tied on. I don't talk to nobody. I do it my way. And that's no disrespect to the other guys and how they approach tournaments. But I just feel like for me to have total confidence in what I'm doing on the water, I need to be doing it my way and only my way. Because when the going gets tough, there's only one person you can lean on, and that's yourself. Mm-hmm. If you're buddying up with somebody sharing information and you start running his pattern, going gets tough, what are you going to do? So that's my philosophy. Take it for what it's worth. But yeah, I'm fishing as good right now, and I might bomb the next one. But it's no different than what it was years ago, or, when I make those runs, I'm going to have bad events just by the way that I fish. Even though I might be fishing good, I might be making good decisions, I'm going to have bad events. It's fishing. If you can't take losing, then fishing is not your deal, because you're going to lose way more than you ever win.
Do you think there's a next level for you? Like, do you think you could even get better? Or everyone has a peak. Like I'm not comparing you to Michael Jordan, but I'm just saying, like, you look at Jordan, you look at Wayne Gretzky, you look at Tiger, there's that time period where it's their time and they're still competitive and do it. Like, do you feel like there's another level, or are you in it right now?
I'm not going to say one way or another. I will say this, there's been a lot of time over my career that even when I was winning, that fishing wasn't as fun as it could have been. And right now it's just fun. I enjoy getting up. I enjoy practicing. People don't bother me whenever I'm practicing. When I say bother, I mean that relative, they just understand and they respect, hey, he's practicing. It's not an emergency. We'll email him or we'll call him after the event. But it's just fun. And that goes back to life in general, being fun, being in a good place. And that's where, I have fun when I have a camera in a boat. It's fun to talk to the people and the cameraman and interact with the fans. And that's the thing that I think that could make it better in the future for me, is when I combine all of that and it's just fun again. I think, I don't know. There could be another gear left. I'm not going to promise anything, but hopefully there's another gear left.
Last question on that, and then we'll let you get to the water after we wrap up a couple of little odds and ends. But is that the biggest mystery in bass fishing? I know Rick Clunn has searched for it. A number of anglers at the top of the game have searched for it. But that feeling of confidence that you can't talk yourself into, it just happens. Is that the biggest? Is that the biggest mystery in fishing as to why it comes and why it goes and how long it lasts?
Yeah.
It seems like, I've done this forever. I've done these interviews forever, and that's the thing. Like, no one's been able to been like, this is how you get the confidence, or this is what you do to get it back. Like, you interview guys like you, and you just have it.
Yeah. I have friends right now, I'm not going to mention any names, that are fishing, and I know that they are a lot better fishermen than what they're showing on the scorecard. And I feel sorry for them almost to the point where it makes my gut hurt. And you said it, like you don't just pick it up. You can't buy it. You don't learn how to get it. You just either get it, you either have it or you don't. Mm-hmm. And I feel sorry for them because that's something, like you said, it just happens, all of a sudden, because I've had periods of my career where I've been totally confident in myself. And then I've also had periods where not so much. And I can see these guys, they don't have it right now. And I want to give it to them because they're my friends. I don't want to take it away from me, obviously, but I want them to have it. And it's just so hard. And I believe in this profession, the harder you try, the harder you try to dig out of the hole, I really think that you dig the hole deeper. You just have to let it come, and it's kind of like basketball, I think. I mean, the more practice that you do, when I say practice, I mean fun fishing for me is a really good way to kind of prep for the tournament. I'm not talking about, maybe crappie fishing because it gets the mind off everything.
Yeah.
Organization, I'm even, a lot of people may not think it, other than Aaron Martins, I don't know a person that I feel like is, well, there's probably a lot of guys organized, but I'm a really organized person when it comes to, my tackle, my boat. I'm simple, but I'm very organized. And it's just all of those variables. But as far as the confidence, you just have to get it and you have to work through it. And it is the hardest thing to get, not only in fishing, in sports.
The next guy we've got on after you, John's got it right now. Soka. Yeah. He hangs out with us and he leaves. He hung out with us at this last tournament or 2 tournaments ago, and he leaves, and Hallman looks at me and he goes, "That guy doesn't know how not to catch one right now." He goes, he's like, that guy, he doesn't even realize what he goes, it just makes so much sense to him right now. He's like, I've seen it. I've been in it a little bit. He goes, it's something that's precious. He's like, you never know. He's like, not many, you hardly get in it, and you don't ever get around many people who get in it at that level.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. I got goosebumps right now thinking about it, but I can remember one occasion where my youngest was having trouble shooting the basketball. And we went to the gym. Nobody else was in the gym, at night, dark, just her and I. And all I was doing was feeding her the ball, and she was just struggling. And I set her down, and I'm like, and I could tell on the floor that she had more confidence in her teammates shooting the basketball than her. So I talked to her, and I set her down. I was like, all right. I said, if you had to shoot one shot from the free throw line for your life or death shot, who do you pick on the team to shoot it? I said, this is for your life. And without a doubt, a second, she's like, I shoot it. And I can't tell you how good that made me feel as a dad. And I was like, exactly. I said, it's you, you have to have confidence in you for you to come through this. And I remember, sitting there talking to her for a second, getting up, starting to feed her the ball, and it was just whack, 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 whack. And it just, you have to have it within yourself. Because when the going gets tough, it's all on you.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody else.
I'm
bass fishing, it's tough a lot more than it's easy.
It's always tough, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do it in the opens, trying to just not suck like that. But you mentioned that, I'll name some names. You've got Justin Atkins down there. The guy's struggling. He's a hell of an angler. Look at his accomplishment. Keith Combs, perennial angler of the year. The last couple years, he's been in a funk. It's not a talent thing. Yeah. He's insane. Steve Kennedy. Look what Ike's doing this year. It's crazy how the mind works. It's crazy how the mind works, Jason.
The only thing I have to say, and I don't know anybody's story. I said, I keep to myself. But I also know that there was times in my career, a year or two where I didn't catch them that good. And it wasn't fishing. It was something, it was life that wasn't good. And I'm not saying those guys might have the best life ever. So when you look at somebody, and they're fishing, it's hard. Don't judge. I'm not saying that you are, but I'm saying you never know what's going on. Maybe they have a family, or, you know, somebody could have a family member that's not doing well or something like that, you know? So, and that, cause I've been through that, you know, there was, like I said, there was a couple of years where even though I fished a lot, I didn't even think about fishing. But you know, these guys, and like you said, Justin, Keith, all those guys, great things.
Champions, hundreds of thousands of dollars, TTBCs, Forest Wood Cups, Classics, the whole 9 yards. They know how to catch bass.
You know what happens, though? Like, it happened to me with the Classics is if it's what's meant to be is going to happen. I mean, it's supposed to happen. Maybe they're just getting set up for one of those blasts. You know, one of those
runs. Yeah,
win 2 or 3 in a row, because that's the only way you have a run is to come out of the hole. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those guys, without a doubt, will come out of it.
Hey, we're going to have, I don't know if you know, well, yeah, you do. You better, because now you're a YouTube star, because you're in the YouTube world now. You're a social media guru, but I don't know if you ever look at Matt Steffen's stuff. Bridgeford dude over on, check it out. It's like a tame Randy Blockett version. Like, he actually does but kind of some off the wall tips and stuff, but he does a really good job. I had him on the show. He used to be like a trader on the Chicago Board of Exchange and stuff. He dealt in I think milk fixing, prices for milk. Anyway, all cool stuff. Great guy, but he does a YouTube channel. So I thought you knew him. Where was I going with this? What did we start out with, Jason? Help me out here. I got off on a tangent. What was I saying about Matt Steffen? How did I just forget about this? Because it was a very good point that was going to... He, when he went full-time in fishing, got a mental... It was a mental coach, who had nothing to do with sports, and he had to go into her and explain what the heck was going on. And he went in weekly for years, and she helped his mental game. And then he posted that he was on the show, and then she messaged him and was like, dude, I'd love to come on and talk about how I helped him in fishing mentally become strong and all this stuff. And he noticed a distinct improvement in his overall finishes when he was training his mind through this mental not a psychologist. It wasn't like the Jeff Crete deal where he lays down and he's like, well, I have trouble flipping a dock. It was like a deal, building the mind up. So I'm going to have her on the show to talk about how that works. Is that interesting? You think I'd lose a lot of viewers on that? That'd be the stuff that I was interested in.
I literally had 10 minutes yesterday to sit down, and I turned it on the PGA, and one of the first things I heard was this kid that was on the green is working with a sports psychologist. So, I would be very interested in what they would have to say.
There was a title for it. It sounded really professional. I'm trying to figure out. Whatever it is. All right. So you're just fun fishing today, then?
I'm gonna catch whatever gets in front of the trolling motor. I mean,
Something
I want bushes, but if I come across a school of crappie, then I feel sorry for them.
Is it just you and whatever keeps moving around in the back of the truck?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, this is our first attempt. This is my first attempt to take her fishing. I've taken her, out, hanging out in the gravel bar and stuff. But like I said, we lost the other one a few weeks ago, and so I'm gonna see if she's gonna make a fishing buddy. I know she's gonna make a running around on the mountain putting out corn buddy, but we'll see if she's gonna make. As long as she doesn't jump in the water.
Is that a yellow lab?
Yeah.
Oh, yellow labs.
A golden retriever. I'm just afraid that when I hit one in the bush, she's reactive like that, like she's just gonna bail in.
Are you running the GoPro?
Yeah.
Okay, that needs to happen today.
Yeah,
because I would love to see just a straight up suplex into the bush with a 4-pounder.
We might be going back to the house early, but I think she'll be good.
All right, Jason, I greatly appreciate it. Like I said, I know how busy you are. I text you. I know you've got a billion texts. You always answer. You're always available to do the show. You're taking time off the water. Oklahoma's proud of you. Congratulations on the next win, or on the last win. And I just go ahead and congratulate you on the next win as well while I got you on the show. But anytime you win one, I'm going to get you on BTL.
Nice. Hope to see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Jason.
See ya.
That was Jason Christie. When we come back, another guy. Like I said, this guy is also in the zone. He's been waiting patiently. He was in Virginia. Now he's in South Carolina. And then next week he'll be in Mississippi. And it wouldn't surprise me if he top 10s all of them. That would be John Soka, MPFL, Bassmaster Open Pro, and owner of the Bass Tank. And he will join us to talk about his third place finish in the Open and preview the next stop of the MPFO when we come back to BTL on a Monday.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? Well, the Bass Tank is here to help you. The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Vibrating jigs are a great choice for any time of year, and the Gamakatsu swim-on is a perfect match for any vibrating jig. Two sizes and the unique tail design gives it a bait fish profile and a great swimming action for realism. There are 17 colors. See them all at bigbitebaits.com.
The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro's coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got Sparkle Shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the matte Sexy Shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look, that matte Sexy Shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
Welcome back to BTL on a Monday. I'm just pulling up John Sokup's open stats here. 4th on Grand Lake to close out the 2021 season. Then he kicked off with an 8th place this year on the Kissimmee chain. 60th place on Lake Cherokee, which, folks, if you divide 60 by 230, you will find that that is still a quality finish. And then he finished 3rd on the James River. Before we go to John, I actually just saw this on Instagram. I hope it's okay if I do this, but Andrew Upshaw, who my buddy's with, I think he roomed with John and Brad in this past event. He said, "So I thought my boat was sold, but now it's looking like it's not," which is probably one of the worst feelings you could have when you thought you had that thing sold. And I traveled with him last year, and if you're into the lime green and blinged out silver, anyway, it's a 2021 Bass Cat era. It's got all the stuff on it, low hours, great electronics. So if you're looking at get a new Bass Cat, it looks like this one is now available. He just posted it 2 hours ago. So hit up Andrew Upshaw on social media for that. And if it's already sold and he gets a bunch, I'll deal with the consequences later. All right, let's bring him in. It's almost like asking Jason to do an interview now is when I ask John to do an interview. Well, I'm like friends with John. I wouldn't say I'm like quote unquote friends with Jason. I have like a good working relationship, but he still likes to like, I think kind of, you know what I mean? Like John, I can call at any time. He's always like, "What's up, man? What's up, John?"
Hey.
Does Jason Christie intimidate you at all? Like, be honest here. Because, I mean, Pete Robbins said he did. He intimidated me a little bit. Like, this was probably our best interaction there. Like, there was nothing sketchy about this last one. Like, he didn't flex any muscle. But have you ever gotten that vibe working with him?
No, I'm not competing against him, though. We're working together. So I kind of
I'm not competing against him either. I've competed against him at an Open or two. You keep up this pace, you will be.
Yeah, that's the goal.
So where are you now?
I am sitting in the parking lot of Green Pond Landing at Lake Hartwell. I'd been out in the water this morning, but we got some rain, and I decided that I need to use this time to hydrate and get fueled up and kind of pace myself for the next couple weeks.
You went straight from the Bassmaster Open on the James River out to Hartwell, and then you go from Hartwell to Mississippi for the next Open. But it was an ambitious schedule. We saw, I think, 3 or 4 guys do it last year where they fished all 9 Bassmaster Opens. Greg Mansfield did it. Joel Willard did it. I think there's maybe one other angler who did it, but fished all 9 and the NPFL schedule. I'm not sure. Are there any other anglers that are doing all of them this year that you're aware of?
I don't know about all of them, but I think there's 6 or 7 names. There's that Instagram guy, Advanced Bass Stats guy. He kind of tracks all the different leagues. I think he's got to post like 6 or 7 names but I don't know about all 9. I really don't. Yeah, I don't know about that.
You're kind of in the catbird seat. We look at what you've done with the MPFL. You won 2 of those. What's going on with the Bass Tank? Like you've got a new baby still. I always forget about that. That's your 4th one. You've got a lot on your plate right now, and you seem to be in a zone. I don't know if you're able to hear what Jason was talking about when we were talking about that zone, but I mean, dude, do you feel like you're in one right now too?
The last finish helped. It helped a lot. And the reason being is, last year with my wins, I was making the right decisions in the water. And then towards the end of the season, I cashed a check on every event last year, but I was squeaking in that last place check range. And I just felt like I was trying to fish history and make the same things work that I'd done the day before, and not taking the risks that you need to take to have the really, really great finishes. You have to take risks to have those finishes, it seems like, especially when you have 225 boats around. And Cherokee, I played the safe game, and the safe game earned me a 60th place finish. And that was it's really not acceptable when it comes to what the ultimate goal is, It's like shooting bogey, you know what I mean?
You don't have to say you know what I mean. I know what you mean because I've made it. I mean, my entire career has been stay and get it. Yeah. So but it's interesting you talk about the risk, John. You're willing to take that risk, and the dream is over before it begins. You're willing to put your neck on the line and finish 200th, knowing that you could finish 60th and 50th and 40th and stay in it till the very end, and then just have to catch them in the last couple to make it. Explain to me the mentality of I'm going to risk it for the biscuit, because if it happens, I'm trying to wrap my head around it because I'm trying to play your game. You're playing it a lot better right now.
Yeah, well, one thing about, as far as we're talking about big sacks, right? Like the difference between
freak shows is what Hallman calls them. Freak shows.
Yeah. And fortunately, I've been having, a lot of 20-plus pound sacks in big events. And, I'm still learning the process and still mentally trying to find out where I'm at when those things happen so I can, stay in that state of mind. But I will say one thing that's different, my mindset now than in the past, was, when I thought that I had to do a big sack, I thought, I had to find some magic spot or bait that we get 5 bites. I'm looking for 5 bites. You hear that? I'm just looking for 5 bites. And I really don't have that mentality at all. I really try to do my best to get around the most fish possible. And then once I find them, I get away and I go find the most fish possible. And so I'm more of more of different, like eliminating, finding patterns and areas with lots of fish. And then during the tournament, that's when the risk happens, but I know that I'm always around fish. The St. James River, listen, I mean, I gave a lot of credit to Bradley, and I still
Just
will.
the James River, there's no saint.
I know. I keep on.
You don't even know the name of the places that you're top 10ing, John. This is getting embarrassing.
My co-anglers, listen, day one co-angler calls me. He's like, "Where would we meet?" I'm like, "I don't know where any of these names." He's named all these places. I'm like, "I don't know." I said, "I've never been to the ramp we're taking off out of." He's like, "How many days have you been here?" I said, "Well, I was on the water for a solid 2 days." And then he's like, "What did you do yesterday?" I was like, I rested. I got my stuffed tackle ready, and he was all worried. He was really worried. And that's the thing is like right now, it may be not a good decision that I'm sitting in the parking lot right now. I'm looking out here, but like, here's the decision why I'm in the parking lot today. Okay. These are the kind of decisions that I think do end up leading to wins. Now, then it's not comfortable. Okay. Because I know there'll be a lot of guys that will argue with me and say, you need to be on the water. I could be graphing right now, and I could be. Okay. I know all that. I don't know where all the, whatever you call it, not the brush piles, but the Hartwell, whatever they call those things. I don't know where they're at. You know what I'm talking about, Matt. What are they called?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just
the Hartwell brush pile.
I just like hearing you try to figure out what they are.
Yeah. I'm going to call them
cane
haystacks.
piles.
Yeah, we'll call them haystacks.
Haystacks. The Hartwell haystacks.
The Hartwell haystacks. So I could be out graphing and looking for them, but the truth is I've looked at the weather, and after this rain comes through and these clouds and this wind, it's supposed to be slicked off the rest of the week in bright bluebird skies. And on a clear lake, Hartwell Lake, where fish suspend and they chase herring and all that stuff, I don't want to go get myself fooled. I don't want to find a bite that I can't chase down and then try to track it down, because I know it won't be there. It may be something I could find and use it for a morning bite for an hour or two, but I'm also trying to pace myself out and keep myself a little bit. You need to leave a little bit of that unknown out there and keep, like I told people before, you got to keep practice alive in the event. And on the James River, that's exactly what happened. I found an area. I had a couple bites. Everything looked right. It looked like a good bedding area. And I was going to fish it. At that moment, Bradley actually called me and said, "Hey, man, what's going on? How's your day? Where you at?" And I told him. And he's like, "Hey, man, I'm going to send you a pin. There's a spot up there that you need to look at." And he sent me the pin. I was like, "I'm here right now." And he's like, "Okay, get out of there. They're in there." And so I did. I did just I took his advice. I mean, he's one of those guys. Bradley's one of those guys that his advice is gold, man. You just take it when he says. You just believe as if you figured it out yourself. And so I did that. I idled out of there. I idled through the area, looked at what I wanted to fish, and left. And then I ended up drawing a really low boat number. We drew boat 7 on day 1. And so I went there, took the risk to go there. I was only going to mess around for a couple hours. I hadn't fished in there at all. And all of a sudden, the fish start showing up, and I started seeing them, and I literally saw them on the beds. And I sight fished. I wasn't planning on it, but I ended up sight fishing and caught 21 and a half or almost 22 pounds on day 1. And I left thinking I could come back to day 2, but when I came back there day 2, now all the other guys were sight fishing. All of a sudden, it was a popular thing after I did it on day 1. Day 1, no one else was sight fishing. Day 2, everybody was in there sight fishing. I caught a couple fish, and I had to get out. And then I went and I didn't go swing for big fish. I actually went to a limit spot and got a little spinner out, little booyah spinner bait out. And
Liz, thank you for clarifying spinner bait. I have nightmares of you throwing a
It was a rooster tail. It was a spinner bait.
It's a beetle spin.
Yeah.
That I found at the dock.
Yeah. Had to put a new swivel on it, but other than that, it was good. But no, so then I end up, I'm going to a limit spot, and a 6-pounder shows up, and that was the difference in my weight to make me have 17 and a half pounds on day 2. And so then day 3 comes around, and I'm sitting there analyzing, the areas that I know have fish, and I had a couple other creeks that I knew had a lot of fish in them, but I knew they'd been pounded and pounded and pounded and pounded and pounded in the opens. So I decided to just pull the plug and stay main river, and actually ran up instead of going down from takeoff. And I'd never been there a day in my life, and I just stayed more main.
Did you pass Jimmy Dean's house?
Yeah, I did.
Did you know that was Jimmy Dean's house?
Well, my marshal told me he's like living in a, he's like in it. There's like literally he's buried right there.
Really? So like if
Yeah,
you're driving up there, it's like what, a half mile past it, and you look over and there's this big, it's a spread. It's like a country spread, but it's all just manicured, and there's a big giant circle in the yard. It's like the size of most people's yards probably. And is it rock or flowers? I think it's rock, colored rock.
It was pretty, but I didn't pay enough attention to know what it was. Yeah.
That might have been my problem. I really analyzed it instead of practiced. But it's got the Jimmy Dean's D, the Jimmy Dean's D sausage in this giant deal on his front yard.
And just above it is like literally his casket. Like he's literally buried right there. He's
right
like,
on the
there's a little,
on the banks of the James.
Yeah, yeah. I found that out from my marshal, who was a local. He said, "There's Jimmy's right there in that little white hut right there."
I didn't know that. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to derail your day 3 story, but yeah,
no,
you
I mean,
go north.
I went north. I ran into a herring spawn, caught a couple 4-pounders in it, and I mean, I never knew what herring were. I just saw them. I ran into them, and then I decided to go in a backwater and burn a buzzbait up. And while I did that, I caught a couple. I ended up coming across a bedding fish, and smoked it after a little bit. And it was a 4-pounder. So now I got like 17.5 pounds, and I decided to go back with like 40 minutes left, just start jumping, like rock jetties as fast as I could. And the last one, 5 minutes left, I ended up catching a 6.5 pounder. And I mean, it was literally right by takeoff. Everybody shouting and saw me yell, and then that jumped me from 17.5 pounds to, once again, like almost 21. So those are just, those are things that it's not, you didn't practice those spots, you didn't chase them down, but you got in tune with what the fish are doing and the behavior of the fish in that body of water. And then you kept your instincts open to react during the tournament, to practice during the tournament.
How do you like keep all this together, dude? Because I'm doing, like the week away, then 2 weeks of shows. When I come back, I'm on the road. I had to pay one of my buddies to mow my yard. I got all this stuff getting done. I'm trying to focus on it. I have no idea what I'm going to do at Ross Barnett. I haven't been there since 2015. I don't think I even have a place to stay there yet. Haven't thought about the fishing. Not sure how it's going to fish. And here you are running all this stuff, just top 10 and everything, and it always seems like you're just like super mellow. Like, what's the key to keeping it all together? Or is it all together? Is it chaos behind the scenes? And every day you get on the water,
bro. There's some chaos. Look at mine. Here's my passenger seat. Okay, all right. Here's my back seat. Like I got chaos, man. I got good people in my life. I've got a good wife, an amazing wife. I got good business partners. I got good business managers to take care of my business when I'm gone. Now, if I do get a phone call, that means something bad's happening. I mean, you speak of Ross Barnett next week. I don't know where I'm staying. I haven't practiced at all. I'm fishing Hartwell right now with the stuff from St. James. I think they bite 25-pound fish line, and out of here. I mean,
the James. There's no
saint.
Still.
Listen, I sainted it last weekend. It's stamped.
Doesn't the St. James sound like a basketball team that you've never heard of that makes a deep run in the NCAA playoffs?
Here's the deal. My brother's name is James. My name is John, and for some reason the St. John River, and then when I hear James River, I just throw the Saint in front of it. So
okay, that's fair enough.
I've been doing it for a while now too. So the James River. But man, listen, I left from Cherokee and drove, as soon as we weighed in, I drove straight up to Virginia and parked my boat there and then caught a flight. I was actually supposed to fish an event in Alabama, the Ray Scott, and the championship, and I decided to X that off the list because that's 5 weeks in a row, 5 events in a row. Flew home for a few days, spent time with the family and kids, got all my business in order as well as I could, and then flew back. Went straight to the water on the James and practiced for, I guess, the 3 days. Took a day off, fished 3 days in the tournament, and then Saturday night, as soon as I was done, weighing in, trophy, all that stuff, interviews, all that goes on. Then I just got on the road, headed straight to Hartwell, rolled in Saturday night and Sunday morning, which was yesterday. I was, Easter, I was on the water here at Hartwell looking around. So the same thing will happen. We have, we all fish 3 days in the NPFL. So Saturday NPFL's over. I'm immediately on the road, and it's like 7.5 hours. When you're that tired, it's gonna be more like 8 or 9. It'll probably take me to get down to Ross Barnett. So I'll be rolling in at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning at best, and then on the water Sunday morning on Ross Barnett. So
since you were last in the studio, like I said, you're in the catbird seat now. You're second overall. Kent is having a heck of a year. He just won. Congratulations to him. 65 pounds. But I know you signed up for all 9 opens, and you're signed up for the MPFL, but I don't know if you say this publicly, but behind the scenes, you're kind of like, I'll see how the opens go. Like, you know,
Right.
if I tank a couple, you know, I might cut some out of my schedule. I might cut a division. If I do really well in division, I might just. But now you're kind of committed because you have a 60th place to where it'll be hard to make it in the Southerns. You're off to a great start in the Northerns. The last Southern isn't until the end of the year. It's back on Hartwell where you're putting time on now. Has your focus, I don't want to say solely, but is there a hunger to qualify for the Elite Series in 2023 now that wasn't maybe there at the very beginning of the year, and that you've had a little taste of the day 3 action in 3 out of the last 4 opens?
Yeah, that's what happened for sure. When I jumped into that grand tournament last year and led it after day 2 and got all over Bassmaster.com and all that, listen, I grew. I was a fan of Jason Christie. I can say I grew up watching fishing and being even a fan of, from Jimmy Houston, Jason Christie, all the Oklahoma guys. I was a fan of Bradley Hallman's, all the Oklahoma guys. I've always supported them and been behind them and been a fan of them. And then to have an opportunity to do that myself, I never thought was ever actually going to happen. I just loved fishing my entire life. My first word was fish. We had a fish farm. I got a fish business, and that's provided. I've been really blessed, man. I've got a huge support group, good sponsors, good family. I really feel blessed, and all of a sudden that 4th place finish last year sparked the thought, hey man, maybe I should go after this elite deal. And then to go down to Kissimmee and top 10 again. I went on a run of top 10s in the BFL at one time, remember? And I was kind of talking to you behind the scenes, like,
you won
hey,
it. You're
man,
like 4 in a row. Was it a coat?
Yeah.
Was it a coat? Like right before where they had canceled or something, so they were back to backs, and you like top 10 to everything. We were just talking about this, John. Like this really started, in my opinion. I remember I was checking in because your dad was checking in at the same time, and you were just weighing in at the Forest Wood Cup, and that would have been 2018, correct?
Yeah, 17 was probably the tournament you're talking about. I think at the championship, Costa Championship, right?
To make the Forest Wood Cup,
right?
And
right.
And from that moment, so really, this has been like 5 years. Like you've always been good. You've always been fish catcher. It's never been a surprise when you've caught them since I've been fishing locally. But it's not like you just go out like Spartan, seek and destroy everything. And then like the last 5 years, it's just been crazy. Like we talk about this stuff. It's like, dude, like Soka's just become like an animal on the water over the last 5 years. It's no longer like limits and doing well. It's like winning and angler of the years. And if it's outside of the top 10, it's like, what happened to John? He didn't finish in the top 10 now. But it's not, I mean, that's at a regional and national level. That's all in the past 5 years.
Yeah, that's just been the opportunity. I didn't have the opportunity when I was younger, but to be truthful, I wasn't ready. I wasn't one of those young guys that would have been ready at a young age. I didn't have my life things in order. I didn't have my bills paid. I didn't have, there was a lot that wasn't in order when I was younger. It wouldn't have been right. It wouldn't have been right for my wife. I just wouldn't have been able to handle it at a young age. So it's just been a slow maturing process, but it's one that I'm in my journey. I'm thankful for it. I think I told you one time on the phone on one of our confidant conversations on the way back. I said, Matt, what makes cashing a check easy? And you were like, what's that? And I said, not having to cash a check. And it's not that I don't have to make money. I want to make money. I mean, I got a goal to pay my bills and stuff and get my fishing stuff in a position where I can use that to pay my bills. All right, I do. And I'm working very good at that. I'm doing well, but it's the mental side of not letting that run and make your decisions, like getting disconnected from that big time. And I work really hard at disconnecting from that on the water, I don't want to make a decision based on $1.
It's good stuff. Yes, Steve, your family was into fish farming. You did what? Catfish and koi?
We had koi. We had some catfish, but that was just because we had stock ponds, but we didn't raise the catfish. We just had them. But yeah, we raised koi.
High dollar koi.
Yeah. Started out in my backyard. We had a little koi pond my dad built before I was even born, I guess. And then I drowned in it at 2 years old. It was a really bad deal, like dead on arrival drowned. I was, bad. Yeah. He was at a fishing tournament, and I snuck out the back window or the sliding glass door and climbed the 2-foot chain link fence. And my mom saw me out in the pond. She saw my hand. And I revived on the ambulance ride to the hospital, I guess. And of course, I don't remember any of this. It's just the story that I hear. But so I end up having the largest sandbox in the neighborhood forever. Like they just, Dad just filled it up with sand. And then as time went on, 7 years old or whatever, we got back into the koi, started breeding in the backyard. We had a taste for things that we couldn't afford. That's a doctor-lawyer game when you go to very high-end koi. And so we had to breed our own fish to get the quality that we wanted. And my dad became one of the best koi breeders in the nation. He was really good with genetics and he was really good at all that stuff. And I loved it. I loved my dad and I loved doing that with him. So yeah, if we weren't catching fish with a rod and reel, we were catching them with our hands. But the difference was, if you knock a scale off a $10,000 fish, that thing isn't going to go into show anymore. So you're hand landing it,
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I'll let you get back out on the water.
I appreciate it.
You can be at Green Pond and just look out there. And
it looks fishy. It looks fishy. They're going to catch them this week. They're going to catch
2 more days of practice.
I got the rest of today, which I haven't even started yet, and then tomorrow. So yeah, day and a half left. Wednesday's an off day, media day, and then we'll go at it. So check out the live on YouTube. I'm sure if I was picking the choices of the camera, they'll throw a camera in the boat with like Keith Carson, and we'll get to watch him do his sight fishing deal. I bet you that's what happens.
It's good stuff, John. Thank you for taking the time to jump on.
Appreciate it,
BTL today.
Thanks, man.
All right. That was John Sukup, and today's show kind of turned into 2 of the hottest guys going in Oklahoma. Both of those guys are at the boat ramp going fishing. So we're going to take a final break. Going to kind of break down what we have coming up the rest of the week. A couple more odds and ends. Put a bow on the return show of BTL for April 18th. We'll be back after this.
Combining one of the most popular hook styles with Gamakatsu's beefier Superline offering, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend delivers the strength necessary to target big fish in heavy cover. Well suited for braided line and heavier fluorocarbon, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend is built using stronger Superline wire that allows anglers to easily fish a finesse worm around heavy cover. The round bend offers a larger bite area, perfect for any worm presentation, while increasing your hookup ratios. The newly enhanced Z-bend holds your plastics on the hook longer, reducing the number of pull-offs and reducing damage to plastics. Available in 2-aught, 3-aught, 4-aught, and 5-aught, this is the most durable worm hook, designed for heavier lines that hold your bait on longer.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
The new Android series is the peak of the Denali lineup and offers the ultimate Denali experience. The Android series features 36-ton multi-directional graphite combined with interlock blank technology for added strength. Each rod is outfitted with Royal titanium guides that will not fail. The blank is fitted into an easy-touch, soft-feel EVA foam grip with exposed blank reel seat. This all allows the Android to transmit every movement of your bait and even the most subtle bites. The Android series is the finest rod Denali has ever made and offers an angler the ultimate fishing experience with a limited lifetime warranty. See the full lineup of Android rods at denalirods.com.
All right, we're back. for the final segment of BTL on Monday, April 18th. Big thank you to both Jason Christie and John Sokup, and we might as well just continue with the Oklahoma theme of the show. There was a Bassmaster Kayak series that went down on Grand Lake, and I had to do some fancy ciphering to figure out how big each of these were. But Drew Gregory, he had like 91 inches or something like that. And Drew Gregory does a lot for the kayak industry. See him at the Classic and around. I think we've had him on the show before too. So congrats to Drew Gregory for his win in the Kayak Classic, or not the Kayak Classic, but the kayak event, the Bassmaster kayak event that was on Grand Lake. And they got to get those in either like early in the year, late in the year, or during the midweek, because I don't like being on a bass boat on the weekends starting in May on Grand, even with all those big yachts and big ships that are going around out there. Also wanted to make a note. Mark did send me an email. Might be able to get Mark on in a couple weeks for his first appearance. I think that's what we decided. He said, let's wait till May. But we'll get Mark on due. But he did want me to let people know, and I had nothing to do with this, so don't send the emails to me. Send these emails to Mark, not me. That if you had signed up for a locker room session with Frank Scalish last year, I guess they did some locker room thing. You sign up and you can kind of get some coaching from Frank, which I've taken a little bit of coaching. It's worked pretty good for me so far. But he will be in contact with you this week, see if you're still interested in it, if you want to get it scheduled. He says he knows that that's kind of gotten a few months out of sorts there, but he will Mark said he will be contacting you if you had submitted a request for that. So exciting week coming up on BTL. I need to pull up my list. I spent a lot of road time on the list for the next couple weeks. So this week we got Jason today. Tomorrow Brad Hallman is going to break down my game film and his game film from the James River. This one's going to be a really good one that you don't want to miss because we're like 100 miles away doing opposite stuff. Wednesday, Rick Harris, my buddy Rick, full-time guide and winner of the Toyota Series last week on Lake Texoma, will be on. And then obviously day 4 with Frank Scalish. I already have next week also booked. It will include a Brian Head will come on. He's with Denali Rods. He's been in the industry for like 30 years. Used to do some stuff with Jewel Jigs. Knows everything there is about how to build, market, sell everything a rod. So we've had really good feedback with Matt Looney from Pro Guide Batteries and what we've done with John with the Bass Tank and kind of what we did with Rick with Bass Cat. So I said, hey, we'll just keep the ball rolling. So we'll have Brian Head on next week. They will be filmed shows because I will be at the Open. We're going to finally, we're going to get Todd Castledine on the show next week. Todd Castledine will be on the show next week. Also check in with the latest BPT winner, Ott Defoe. What's going to have him on this week, he's either, this is no joke, he's either killing a turkey or taking his children on field trips all week. So we're going to film. He's going to be on next week as well. And then I've gotten a little bit behind on the Cull show with Mercer. You can still go over to the Facts of Fishing page and watch that, but we're going to have a whole new round of those. I'll be getting caught up from being back at the Opens on putting those Mercer podcasts out. So that's it. Thanks for everybody hanging in while I was out of town last week. Thank you for all of the exciting comments. Like I said, I think we're still looking for a place at Ross Barnett. If you stayed at a VRBO or know anything, I think like 3 or 4 boats. Hit me up on social media or matt@basson.com. And I think that's all we got for a Monday edition of BTL. We'll be back tomorrow, which will be April 19th. See ya.